We on?
All right. Hey, everybody. Thanks for being with us once again tonight. It is Eric and Michelle Fouché of Prime Photography. Tonight, we are discussing the subject of low light concert photography. As you know, we're here in Austin, Texas, big place for the live music scene. So a lot of what we do includes band shoots, specifically live on stage shoots for bands, which of course comes with some particular challenges. Mainly those two being the actual lack of light. A lot of times the venues are very lowly lit because the emphasis is on providing a great ambiance in the venue for kicking back and having a drink with your friends. Not so great always for capturing what's going on inside that venue, combined with the fact that your objects are in motion. Of course, if you could set up a tripod in the middle of the dance floor, that might be helpful, but you can't do that. And if your objects were perfectly still, that would really help a lot. Does it happen that often during live shows? I don't know.
No, we should direct them.
Mime?
Hold on, keep that pose, that's great.
Mime a rock band photography?
Yes.
Perhaps? They'll be called the memes. It's a thing. Don't steal it. It's mine. Anyway, so tonight we will look at photographs from a fairly recent shoot that we did, I want to say 2 or 3 months ago.
May 23rd.
Okay, yeah. So a few months ago, 2 months ago, May, June, July. What month are we in? 2 months ago. Wow, time flies. Anyway, this was taken at the Swan Dive in Austin.
Yes.
So, want to talk us through this one?
Yeah, so basically, like Michelle mentioned, live concerts is pretty tricky, challenging. One, the musicians are constantly moving, and you kind of have to freeze the motion. You don't want anything blurry. So that means anything from 100 to like 200th of a second, but really, if you could shoot everything at like 300th of a second, it'd be even better. So you kind of have to be waiting when they're like at the end of the movement or something like that, or when it's not too active where you can get some freezing motion. So 1/25th of a second, it's you kind of have to be a little lucky and to take a lot of shots to make sure. And if you were to go to like 300th or 320, it'd be much better. You would have a greater chance of freezing the motion.
It might be black.
Right.
But there wouldn't be any motion blur.
Yeah, the frame is going to be completely black or very, very dark. So that's not good. So it's always playing with the shutter speed. You want to be high enough to freeze it, but at the same time, barely so you have enough light.
Yeah, and good point, like you said, about taking a lot of shots. Man, I don't think there's anything we do that results in a higher percentage of throwaways than when we do live concert photography. It's just a lot of hit and miss for so many reasons. If you're in a venue that has changing lights, or if you're at a venue where it's not just the house lights, but the band brings their own, sometimes you can't always predict when a certain light is going to hit your subject, and then it completely changes what you thought you were about to get. So that's different. Just the different movements, like Eric was saying. My big thing and biggest challenge for me is always, by the time I see something excellent happen on stage and I loved that facial expression or I loved that movement or whatever was happening, it's already over. So just kind of having to train your focus on that subject and just wait. And then you snap a shot and, oh, that wasn't exactly that moment. So you get another one, and hopefully out of, 20, you might have managed to capture exactly what it was you were going for, just something that was accidentally cool that you didn't even know was going to happen.
Yeah, and I think the way I work, I don't know if you did that or not, but I kind of position myself, angle, settings, and everything like that, and I play the catch, kind of like I set up a trap. And I'm there, and I'm kind of like waiting. And sometimes, I'm just looking around, see if I'm bumping into anybody or whatever is surrounding. I'm just waiting, and the person's like, "What are you doing?" But I'm just waiting. And then, okay, something's about to happen, but everything's already set up, And then cut, and you just wait until because musicians make a lot of weird faces too.
Indeed.
So, but I kind of do that. Then when I think I got something pretty okay, then I'm gonna do the same thing in different location, different lens, different
You're
whatever.
like a sniper.
Yeah, you
just
kind of
lie
have
awake.
to wait, and because music is like pattern based, there's a great chance that the person is gonna do it again. If you missed it,
Right. Wait
there's
for
a
the
great
next
chan-
chorus.
yes,
Probably you're gonna
there's
do
a
the
great
same thing.
chance it's gonna do it again. You know, the way approaching the mic and things like that. And when you see that the mic is like too close or too far, you you know it's gonna come, and you just have to wait. And it's kind of weird. Like, yeah, I don't think it's fully dynamic. That you kind of like all over the place.
Yeah.
The way I do it is more little
No,
traps
I agree
here and
too.
there.
I tend to find a framing and a composition that I like, and then sort of wait for
'Cause
something
it
to
will
happen.
generally happen, and if it doesn't, then you're like, oh, this is the part of the show that the whole emphasis or the whole song is on the emphasis on the other singer or the whatever it is.
You know, the weird faces that musicians make, though, are really good for our side business in blackmail of local musicians. Because we have everyone making the
What, the
weirdest faces ever.
the stinky guitar. Is that what it is? That's the worst one.
It's funny, I haven't heard that exact term before.
Yeah.
I guess all the instruments get smelly.
Yeah, yeah. When you're really in it, you realize how bad it stinks. It is. Anyway, so that means that your shutter speed, basically, I'm going to try to make this fast, but the shutter speed, you're not going to rock the 60th of a second. 90% of the picture are not even going to be pictures. They're going to be completely blurry. So it's not even just like the guitar neck, like it becomes
the
blurry,
hand.
that's fine and all that. But at 60th and all that is not going to be good. Then for the lens choice, the focal length, I'm not even going to worry about that because it's different look, but it's not going to change what you need to get as far as a clear enough data on the frame, frozen, and so the focal length, not even going to worry about it. But the focal length itself, no, not the focal length, the aperture, sorry.
Don't lie to us.
Did I confuse
Why would you lie?
Sorry,
Don't do it.
I saw F. Anyway, the aperture. Go as wide as you can.
Yeah, for
whatever your lens is, if you have a 2.8 here, like this 70-200, be at 2.8. Don't even try f4, 5.6, or whatever. Now, if your lens, a kit lens, might starts at 5.6, then
That's
you're
what
gonna.
you got.
That's
you work with what you got.
Yeah, don't try to shoot f8 or anything like that. The drummer is gonna be blurry, and that's fine. Yeah, and also so. This is why using like a 50 millimeter f1.4 would get you an extra stop of light, which is huge in low light. You're trying to gather as much light as possible and maximize this. And there's a big difference between ISO 10,000 and 5,000.
Huge.
And this is what it would get you. So this one, if you get like the 85, which is kind of close to the 110 here, the 85 millimeter 1.4, you could have gotten, or I don't know who shot this, but at 5,000 it makes a big difference, especially in the shadows and all that, the grain, the noise, and the dynamic range too. The colors are way more accurate, all the transitions and all that. It buys you a lot. And if you have a 1.2, even better. I mean, the the lower the number, or the bigger the aperture hole, the better.
Yeah, and those things get expensive. But if you do this or something similar to this frequently, that's really a game changer.
Yes.
To allow yourself the capability to drop your ISO, so that you'll have shadows and just a general overall noise level that you'll be a lot happier with.
Yes, and one thing also I want to mention is that I personally do not like at all, as a musician or photographer, using flash, because that would completely using a flash would completely freeze the motion. That's fine, and it would get rid of. You can shoot at f8, f11, whatever you want. That's not a problem. ISO 200, no problem. But the look is weird. I don't like it. It's flat. It's washed out. all the ambience, the colors from the gel, the lights they have, the mood that they were trying
those are all
to
gonna
go
be
for,
gone.
is going to be completely washed out by your flash.
And you'd have to be fairly close too.
Well, that too. Otherwise, it's even worse. And on top of that, you have a musician in the moment and all that, and then guess what? Bam! Like this giant flash in your face. You're like, oh, sorry. And then you gotta take a few of them. It's like, this is bothering. Now you're taking me out of what I'm doing. This is completely taking the whole thing out of the element. I don't know. This is when I see live concerts taken with a flash, I recognize immediately, and it to me looks really bad.
Yeah, generally
much easier, but this is not good for the musicians. It's not good if I'm watching a show and I see flashes and all that. It's like, no, let me enjoy the mood, the cool lights, and I don't know. And you have to be a ninja. Nobody should even notice that you were there.
I know. You should shoot from the grassy knoll.
Yes.
Whenever possible.
Yeah. So a lot of these.
No, that didn't really work. I was still thinking sniper from earlier. Ninja.
Same.
Sorry, I don't know. My sense of humor is off tonight.
It's all good. So, most of these pictures, some of them are great, some of them aren't. But it's just an example that you're trying to. Basically, what's going to get something has got to give. And either it's going to be the speed. You can't give up the speed because it's going to be blurry, and blurry shots is not good. The depth of field, you're already as wide to have as much light as you can. So the last factor here is the ISO. And an ISO of 10,000 is not good. But you got to do that. I mean, unless you try to, and I've done this before, where I shoot at like 100th of a second or even 60th of a second, but you have to wait perfectly when the person kind of like stops for half a second. You shoot and you're like, oh my god, I got it at 60th of a second.
Yeah.
But people move and you move and all that.
Yeah.
So it becomes, the lower you go, the harder it gets. So that means the number of shots increases. So here, really, the ISO is going to be the thing that's going to have to give.
Yeah, you just either have to be okay with going that high, or you just don't do it.
Right.
I mean, there is the option to say, sorry, I understand this is a really cool venue, and this might be where your next gig is that you'd like us to come shoot, but we know from experience that you're not going to get the quality that you want or we want if we do it there, so let us take a look at your upcoming schedule for the next few shows, and we can talk about maybe some better options where we know the light's a little bit more conducive to getting better quality photos.
Let it resolve. Come on.
Resolve.
Okay. There you go. You called it. So even at 8,000 here, the noise is definitely acceptable. And I'm not sure if I cleaned the noise or anything. I probably didn't. Yeah, I mean, noise is fairly minimal. Yeah, it's not bad. So this 8,000, as long as you have the data here, you're gonna be pretty much okay, unless your camera is really old. Yeah. Okay, so here, for some reason, the light became stronger. So I was able to decrease the ISO and increase to make sure that things were even sharper. Because
also
the
with
light.
A different lens. So you were able to go to.
Oh, good call, actually. Very good call. Actually, that's what happened. It's not even that the light changed. It's simply the aperture. Yes. So the 35 millimeter. Yeah, very good call. I didn't see that. Yeah, I mean that's what it gets you. It from 2.8. The video is stuttering a little bit.
I know, I saw that.
From 2.8 to 1.4, bam, down to 4,000, and that's a huge good thing to have. 1.6, not sure why, maybe like bump the button somewhere. 8,000, probably moving a lot. I think the computer is straining. But yeah, that's basically really the difficulty of live music, because you have the worst conditions ever. Again, low light, and you're like, okay, low light, that's not a problem. I can take, a longer shutter speed, put on a tripod, and low light, that's not a problem. But here people are moving, and you need to capture them in perfectly frozen. So all I would say is, yes, you're going to have to give the ISO and make sure that you have enough data on your histogram.
Yeah.
And thinking that, well, it's a little underexposed, but at least the shutter speed was okay, and I got the aperture that you wanted, and I kept at a low ISO. And if you don't have enough high details in the high area, you only have everything is slightly underexposed, thinking that you're going to fix it later in post is going to be super bad, super grainy, and all that.
Yeah, great piece of advice. Never knowingly shoot under. Never knowingly underexpose in a low light situation, planning on boosting the exposure in post-processing, because you will not enjoy the results that you get. You'll actually come out with a better image if you go ahead and crank the ISO to the level needed to expose it well out of the camera. It will look better than if you kept the ISO low and shot it dark and then crank it up in post. So don't trick yourself that way.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. This is all I wanted to say.
Yeah, great. Well, thank you once again for being with us this evening. We really appreciate your coming around to check on our videos. As always, any questions, comments, or suggestions can be left down below. And you can also check us out on Facebook at Prime Photography, or at our website as well, which you can link to through the Facebook page.
Yes, we'll do.
All
Thank
right.
you very
Have a great
much.
night, everyone. See you next time.
Bye.